All right, what's up, everybody? We are live. This is the Hot Box, episode 155. I'm gonna get this started here in a sec. Run a little behind today, as you'll see from some recent weed reviews. You'll maybe know why. I'm gonna talk to Alison Parker today. Dude, where's my ferret? Very exciting. So let's get the show started. Check.
On the seventh day,
Here's of tripping on pop.
Be there! Scour the spaceways! Explore vast alien worlds! This right here contains the whole rigmarole.
I used to smoke about an ounce of hash every day.
Good.
And it made me go a little bonkers.
Maybe if I occupy his mind with more duties, I can control his space.
Hi, big fat doobies. Hi.
Hi, what's up, everybody? Today's Saturday, May 16th, 2015. It's episode 155 of the Hot Box. My name's Matt. Got a great show for you this evening. Going to talk to Alison Parker from Dude, Where's My Ferret? They're doing a little crowdfunding to get a movie going. So we're going to Skype Alison in right now.
Hello.
Alison, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm excellent. You're on live with Matt on the Hot Box. Tell us, dude, where's my ferret? Where is my ferret?
He's over there. No.
Shit, where?
Sorry. Sorry.
So tell us a little bit about the project. You have an Indiegogo campaign going right now at dudewhere'smyferret.com.
Yep. Yeah, basically, Dude, Where's My Ferret is a stoner comedy short film, and we have a fundraiser going on. If you go to dudewhere'smyferret.com, it's going to auto-forward you to our Indiegogo page, and it shows you a little pitch video about the movie and explains what the movie's about, and we have a lot of cool perks if you donate anywhere from $1 to $5,000, right? A lot of cool stuff. Available from, we've got about 30 different companies in the cannabis industry that have given us swag that we can give away to people for donating. So a lot of cool stuff there, and incentive. But the number one incentive would be to help us make the movie, which we would really appreciate.
That's right. Indiegogo.com. Search for Dude, Where's My Ferret, or just go to dudewhere'smyferret.com. It's right there. And if you're watching live, you can see a shot of what it looks like. You guys are just over $2,000 Canadian.
Yep.
Out of $15,000. What made you get into wanting to make stoner films? Like, you've made other films before, or is this like your first attempt? Tell us about that.
I've been making films for about 15 years now, so it's not my first film, but it is my first stoner film. I used to make, and I still do make, family films. I really enjoy kind of more along the Disney line, things with kids and animals in it. But I wanted to branch out and make something that my friends would want to watch, because I would always find that people my age weren't really interested in the movies I was making because they were really for kids or, for families, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so I just thought, if I make a stoner comedy, there's no mistaking that this is not for kids, it's for adults, it's for a new audience. And as a filmmaker, it's a new challenge and a risk. Are people going to like it? Am I going to be good at it? I don't know, right? But you got to keep challenging yourself and not just doing the same thing over and over again. So, yeah, there's a few reasons there. And also, I smoke marijuana, and I have since I was 15 years old, and I'm a ferret owner. So getting to combine those two things in a film is really fun for me.
That's pretty awesome. And it's definitely, as a fellow stoner, I can appreciate that genre. I mean, I remember the first time I watched Half Baked, and I was just like, wow, there's movies out there like this. And then, it leads you down that path of finding all of the other fun, trippy kind of stoner films. I do like in the trailer, if anyone hasn't seen it yet, you definitely want to check it out. It's in the form of that 70s show, which was very amusing. What were some of your other kind of like not guides, but like ideas, inspirations, and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the promo video, definitely was inspired by the smoking circle scenes from that 70s show. So that was totally intentional, and I'm glad when people pick up on that. I'm definitely influenced by a lot of stoner films that I've seen. I mean, Harold and Kumar, Dude, Where's My Car? Obviously have Baked, Grandma Boy, you know, any of the classics. There's quite a few stoner movies out there I could list off. And anything that I hadn't seen yet, I've been, you know, making sure that I do see for inspiration, and also to see what's already been done to make sure that I stay original and don't do what other people are doing.
What are some of the, are there any more recent ones? I think one that kind of sticks in my mind is the Kid Cannabis film on Netflix. Very amusing, but kind of also highlighting a little bit, coming from Montana, and we lived about 60 miles from the Canadian border. I could appreciate having that idea of like, man, it's dry. Why don't we just go to Canada and get our own weed? Like that really resonated for me. I'm not sure if you saw that one.
Yeah, I did see that one. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I actually live in Vancouver, BC, Canada.
Oh,
and
nice.
That movie was filmed in Victoria, on Vancouver Island, which is where I grew up. So I know a lot of people that worked on that movie. A lot of the actors are from here in Vancouver. And to see that film doing really well makes us very happy. So it's very cool that it's on Netflix. And I would definitely mention that one as a recent one. I feel so on the spot now. Last night I was probably watching the worst stoner movie in the world, called Sex Pot. I don't know if you've seen that.
I've never heard of it. Well, tell me about that. Now I'm intrigued.
I apologize to the filmmakers. They do a lot of the stuff on sci-fi, like Mega Piranha and those kind of movies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But this was nowhere near the level of Mega Piranha, which says a lot.
It's no Sharknado, huh?
It's, oh God, no. It's no Sharknado. I mean, I've made it about 30 minutes into the movie where the guys just fucked a bagel and watermelon because they're so horny from this special pot that they got from Jamaica that makes you horny.
Wow.
Which I guess is the plot.
That's awesome. The Spanish Fly.
There's good ones and bad ones out there, and I hope that I would be considered among one of the good ones.
I do like reading through some of these perks, the Duke of Dabs and the Wacky Weasel. I'm interested in the hacky sack. I like the pictures you got, and everyone loves ferrets. I mean, maybe not necessarily in real life, but a picture of a ferret. I mean, come on, you can't. How can you say no to that?
Not in real life. What are you saying?
Oh, I've had some friends that had some pretty smelly ferrets, and I don't know. I'd rather look at the picture. If it's not smelly, then sure, I will definitely pet a ferret.
Well, all I'm going to say is most ferrets come from the pet store descented. But if you come across one that hasn't been descented, they definitely would have a stronger odor. And of course, if you don't take proper care of them, that can make it worse. But when you're watching the film, unless it comes out in 4D, you're not going to smell anything. So I wouldn't worry too much. Although I find they kind of smell like marijuana. Sometimes when I walk in my bedroom, I don't know if it's because I'm smelling the marijuana that's in my backpack hanging from the door, or my ferret that's right there in the cage next to it.
If you're watching live now, you can see the pictures there of Krusty the Ferret. Or the Rasta
Krusty
Ferret.
The Ferret, superstar.
It's awesome. Now, when you say superstar, you're not even joking. Like, this is literally a celebrity ferret here you're working with.
Yeah, it's not his first acting gig, which is cool because he's only about 1 year old.
Wow.
But he did one of my previous films called Santa's Little Ferrets. He played a ferret called Falafel. He was one of 3 main ferrets that helped Santa with delivering the presents. And after he did that movie, he ended up getting a gig on a TV show called Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce, which was filmed here in Vancouver. It's set in LA, but a lot of stuff gets filmed here. And he did one episode of that show, and he got to act with Lisa Edelstein, who played Cuddy on the show House. which was super cool. She
That's
dates
awesome.
this guy that's like obsessed with ferrets, and he wants her to be like the mom to his ferrets. And Krusty got to play that guy's ferret. So that was kind of cool. So this is going to be his third movie, and he did the promo video, so you can see him in the promo video there. But he plays Ferret Bueller in our movie, which
nice. Do you find like the more that these animal celebrities get in the starlight, that they just become like a nightmare to work with? I mean, what does this ferret's rider look like on an average shoot?
He's got a lot of demands, but I mean, they're mostly food related, so it's actually really good. He's like raw hamburger meat, so he has to have a lot of that. He has to have a private room. It's got to be air conditioned.
Sure.
No one can go in there. So anytime we're not filming, he's in his private room with his animal trainer, Sherry, and he just comes out when we're ready to film. And as soon as we're done and I say cut, he goes back to his private room, and he kind of lives in the lap of luxury. So.
Wow, just kind of a straight down to business, no autographs, no messing around kind of workhorse or ferret, work ferret.
Well, it helps keep him focused, and just thinking about what the task at hand is. So there's a difference between playtime and work time. When he goes back to his room, he can have a nap or he can play. And when he's on set, he's got to focus on, jumping up onto that couch or off of that chair, or whatever trick we need him to do.
Now, I don't know about you, but an unfocused ferret, few things worse in life than unfocused ferret.
I know. That's why they cannot smoke the marijuana. No ferrets are smoking marijuana. Otherwise, they would just lose all focus.
Yeah, no, that would be a complete mess. I could not imagine trying to film. I don't want to give away a major part in the trailer, but I feel like most people have seen it already. And, I wouldn't want to film an unfocused ferret down the pants. I'm just saying. I'd film a ferret down the pants, but you better be a professional. You better be focused, and I would hope a little maybe. I don't want to say declawed because that's cruel, but I would hope he has his claws minded, Yeah. We put a pillowcase down the actor's pants so that when the ferret was down his pants, it was separate. I know it's going to sound. We were wondering. I had imagined some sort of like jock strap with like Kevlar protecting,
that's what I was thinking.
A full on.
I was like, oh, I should have got you to wear a jock strap. I didn't think of that. But I mean, the ferret is super friendly. He loves to just turn over on his back and have you rub his belly, and he'll give you kisses. So he would never intentionally hurt anyone's junk.
Sure.
But, accidents happen, and he does have claws. So we at least had that pillowcase that was inside the guy's pajama pants, and the actor was holding the ferret in his hand, so he was controlling the situation as well. Did that take a little coaxing to do, or was he like, oh yeah, here, hop in? Like as far as the actor himself, not the ferret. I'm sure the ferret, being a professional. The ferret was totally into it. The actor was very cool. Tim Carlson, who plays Durwood in the film, he was like, yep, I'll do it. I was so nervous to ask him, can I put a ferret down the pants? I'm in. You had me at ferret in my pants. Like, where do I sign? I mean, some actors are just really great like that, and they just see the comedy in it, and they're like, yeah, do whatever, drag me through mud, I don't care. for the art, right? It's all for the art. It's for the craft. It's all for the art, exactly. I think that they have a hard time saying no because they know you wouldn't be asking if it wasn't. Well, and especially after, this generation, you look at some of the greats like Johnny Knoxville. You think every time they're like, hey, we're gonna need to kick you in the nuts, he was like, no, he is professional. He took it and he got it done. That's right. I'm going to use that argument if anyone needs to get kicked in the nuts in this film. That's right. Or anything junk related that may be slightly uncomfortable. Just think of Mr. Knoxville and his contributions to this great art. Compared to what Johnny Knoxville has gone through. That's right. They probably would have took that ferret, put him in a t-shirt cannon, and launched him at the nuts, that you guys gently the nuts from a distance. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, no pillows involved either. I'm guessing those guys, that would be terrible. They don't mess around. Cruelty, but yeah, I'm sure Johnny Knoxville would do that. Actually, I don't know what he would do to an animal. I would hope he wouldn't do that to an animal, but yes, he would take that. I'm sure. Definitely. Tell us a little bit about the rest of the cast while we're talking about that. Yeah, sure. Our lead actor is named Dylan Playfair. and he is on a show. Actually, it's on Netflix. It's called Some Assembly Required, but I'm not sure if it's started on Netflix yet. It's a kids show that's on a channel in Canada called YTV, and he plays the character Knox, and he's like kind of like a dumb surfer dude character on that show. So it's not a stretch that he is a stoner dude in our film. And then we have Tim Carlson, as you know, playing Durwood, and we have Leanne Lapp playing Zelda. And she's done a lot of shows like Supernatural and Motive and things like that. And she does a lot of Hallmark movies, Surprised by Love, things like that. And then we have Michael Roberts, who played Uncle Fester in the new Addams Family TV show. So not the movies, but the TV show, which again, I'm not sure if it played in the States, but it was big here and everyone knows him for playing Uncle Fester on that. And then we have a special celebrity cameo role, which I can't announce yet, but there's a voiceover role in the film that we're in talks with a really big stoner celebrity actor from the States.
Very exciting. And I'll ease the tension right now and let everyone know that it's not me. So I know everyone was like holding their breath being like, we know it's got to be that Matt guy from the hot. No, it's not me. I was busy. They did ask.
Bigger than you, if you can.
Way bigger. Oh, I can. Way bigger than I.
Yeah, so it's probably a good thing, we couldn't meet your demands because
I have a writer that pretty much rivals the Ferret, so it is understandable.
Yeah, you wanted us to actually cook the hamburgers and make you hamburgers.
Hamburger helper is actually what it said, and she was like, "No, we're not even doing it. Get out of here with that.
Leave out the details, but
craft dinner." You mentioned Netflix. It does seem kind of exciting right now. I do cover a little bit of technology stuff also, and we talk about what Netflix was doing as far as when House of Cards first got brought onto it. They had not necessarily outbid HBO, but had a better kind of package for what these creators wanted to do with the show. And ever since then, with that success, you've seen them invest time after time in these TV shows and films. Is that ever like a possibility for what you guys are going to do with this, to see if like an actual web streaming type studio would want to get behind it?
It's a huge possibility, Matt, and it would really be a dream come true to get on Netflix. And it's very exciting to read about how they're getting into the movie business now, and also Amazon.
Right.
They created the show Transparent was on Amazon, and they're getting into movies now as well to rival Netflix. I know that we're going to be available on iTunes and Vimeo on demand, but our goal is to really get on some of those third-party sites like Netflix, Amazon, Google, Xbox. I want people to be able to play it on their iPhone. So we're going to be going after all of those things. And hopefully with some of the endorsements that we have already, like Cannabis Culture just jumped on board and is sponsoring us. And all these 30 companies and the great actors and all the hype that we're building, I'm really hoping that it's going to increase our chances of getting onto one of those things so we can go more mainstream.
It's really exciting to see, because back in the day before this uniting technology, I guess, it wasn't really a possibility. There was a set standard way that you got a movie into, I guess, Hollywood, for lack of a better phrase. And if you didn't do that, like that was... You had, the B movies and everything that kind of did their own thing, but it wasn't nowhere near like what Netflix kind of did and was like, look, you don't need these producer farms, so to speak. Like we can do it. We have the resources. We're big enough, and we have the platform. It's really cool to see that it's disrupting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's very exciting, and I hope that I get to be a part of it.
Yeah, definitely. What else are you guys having in the plans as far as perks? Any other of those that you want to mention that you have left? What's
We've
your-
got quite a few things left right now. Some of our top sellers would be our $25 perk, which is I think called the Wacky Weasel. For $25, we'll put your name in the end credits of the film. So where it says special thanks, we'll put your name in there. And I think that's one of the coolest things for a lot of people that maybe don't work in the film industry, to get to see their name in the end credits. And also our $5 perk, which is the Duke of Dabs. For $5, you'll get a digital download of the film before anyone else sees it. So before it actually goes on iTunes or Amazon or wherever it goes, we're going to email all our funders and send them the movie to watch. So for $5, I think that's a pretty good deal, and you're helping us make the movie at the same time. But you know, there's a ton of stuff on there. Like you said, there's hacky sacks. I've got autographed storyboards. We've got, you know, for $42, the 420 goodie box perk, which is a 1-month free subscription to that service, which is very cool. If you haven't heard of it, every month you get a box of smoking related goodies.
Yeah.
You can get producer credits. You can get, we had an artist who works for The Simpsons create this original piece of artwork for us where he drew our characters from the film, Simpsonized.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so we've got 30 of them on canvas, a small canvas piece of artwork that if you donated $100, you would get one of these canvases, which you know, is very limited in quantity, and it's the kind of thing I want to have on my wall. So.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool. And just to give people a chance to be a part of something they might not otherwise, like you could know that you help fund this movie. And for, I mean, not everyone can afford the $100. I understand. I can't definitely work in this 9-to-5 grind, but I'm sure we can all scrounge out at least 5, if not 25. And that's cool that you get a little something. And you kind of go on like the Louis C.K. Mode here, where he did his own special. He released it his own for $5, and and look what he did, so much. Granted, Louis got the audience, right? He's got a huge audience already, but
CK, unfortunately. But yeah, he's on Saturday Night Live tonight, isn't he? I gotta watch that. But yeah, it's $5 to get the movie. I feel like that's a really good deal. But honestly, you could even donate $1. And I know it sounds like, why would I want to donate $1? That's not going to help you. But every time someone donates, you know, we're posting a thank you shout out on our Twitter and our Facebook saying thank you to this person for supporting our project. And then they're hopefully sharing about it on their Facebook and Twitter. And you're just helping us get the word out and build the momentum. And
you say it's not much, but if 1 million people donated $1 like that, it adds up, right? And the internet has that power to kind of connect that many people instantly with like the push of a button. So it's definitely possible, you know.
That's why I really appreciate you having me on your show, and other people that have had me on their shows or written articles about us, because it's just about getting the word out, you know. And if we can get the word out to the people, I believe that they're going to be, you know, entertained by the film. So thank you very much for having me on the show.
Before we let you go, let's talk a little bit of weed. What are you smoking right now? You mentioned you're up in Canada. Much more lax weed laws, we'll say. Just as long as the U.S. has been like, "Raw, this is evil," and the devil, Canada's been like, "Hey, buddy, it's all right, relax."
Yeah, we all talk like South Park. I love Terrence and Phillip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's what am I smoking?
What are you smoking on this week?
It's funny that you should ask, because you know, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but I'm going to do it anyways. We're actually coming out with a strain of marijuana. We're very lucky that we have hooked up with some people in BC that grow marijuana. For, you know, the dispensaries, they have a license and all that for medical marijuana. And they were coming out with a new strain that's going to be named after our Ferret in the movie. And it's going to be available in dispensaries across North America. So that's actually what I'm smoking now.
That's exciting. Can you tell us, like, what's the genetics? What's it look like? What's it smell like? Like, I'm interested. Tell me all about it.
Well,
or as much of it as you can.
Yeah, it's a cross between Willie Nelson and pine tar. The Willie Nelson strain it's got these huge, like, cola-sized buds. And the pine tar, I don't know too much about it yet. To be honest, I haven't smoked it yet because every time I've been thinking to smoke it, I've had like an interview or I had to do some work or whatever. Something keeps coming up, and my producers tell me it has a very heavy high. So I'm being careful about when I.
It sounds like the pine tar is a Pakistani line Kush, so it's a strong indica. So yeah, it would definitely set you on the couch. It sounds like.
Yeah, that's
and then
what they told me.
Crossed with what was it? A Willie Nelson?
Which I don't know if that's out yet. I think it's new.
I did read a bit ago in between episodes here that he was coming out with his own brand of cannabis.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is actually that brand that's being grown for him, or it just ended up getting called Willie Nelson.
Right, because you have other strains like the West Coast Willie, and then I mean, if you look on like Seed Finder or whatever, there's a few different phenotypes of the Willie Nelson, depending on who grew it out and everything.
Okay.
Cannabis Cup winners,
so
though.
That much I don't know. I just know that it's called Willie Nelson and Pine Tar. I'm not an expert at all. That's probably the most I've ever known about strains, just because it's growing for us right now, the cross. So it's interesting.
It's interesting to see like brands on plants like that. Just recently, a guy we listen to makes music named Grizz. He had a Kush that he actually helped make, like helped do the cloning and the genetic whatever they do. I'm not a grower, but he had a hand in it, which is cool to see. And it actually won a cup like the first year it was out. So it is cool to see. Back in the day, people were always like on the down low because of how, prosecuted you could get. That one slip up could ruin your whole life just like that. And nowadays, the shift in consciousness, it's cool to see that you can put your name behind this genetic line and be proud of it and not have to go to jail because of it.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that we can do that, because it's a really great way to tie in with our film and hopefully get some publicity. Because in our film, the lead character has grown his own strain of marijuana, and it's a really cool, potent strain that him and his buddy think is really awesome. And their plan is to go to the Cannabis Cup and hopefully win a prize that will give them enough money to pay their rent. And then what goes wrong is the girl who's supposed to be giving him a ride to the Cannabis Cup dumps this ferret on him and says, I need you to babysit my ferret while I run out and do an errand. And then all hell breaks loose, and the ferret digs up his plant, it knocks his bong over, and shits on his entry form to the Cannabis Cup.
Oh, man.
So the cool thing is the strain of marijuana in the movie will have the same name as the strain of marijuana that we release in the real world, that you'll be able to go out into a dispensary.
What? That is so meta. I like it. I like it a lot.
It's so cool. So I don't know if it's going to be Ferret Kush or OG Ferret or Ferret Bueller.
Do you know if is this medical or is this recreational? Is this going to be under, like, if it comes to like Washington or Colorado or something, will it be available? Like, am I going to be able to get my hands on it?
Able to get it if you have a medical marijuana card, because what I know is that it goes to a wholesaler that distributes to dispensaries across North America. And what they told me so far is, like, you'd be able to walk into a dispensary in LA, for example, and this would be one of the ones.
Okay, but
that you could choose.
Not a recreational shop, let's say in Washington here where we're at. I couldn't just go in and find it, maybe.
I'm going
to give you the names of 5 recreational shops near me after the show. Okay. And if there's any possibility, you could just send those and say, hey, if you have a chance, they would like some. And then you could tell me which one and I'll go get it. And that would be awesome.
Please do, because I know that you review strains.
I know. I want to review the Ferret strain.
Sorry. Oh my God. That would be amazing if you reviewed our Ferret strain.
Hey, so and if nothing else, I'll come. Well, I won't meet you in Canada, but I'll come meet you somewhere closer to here where it's legal. And then we'll do a quick, like, nonchalant drop pickup, have a little lunch, and
I'm not driving across the border with it, man. No way.
I did that once, maybe when I was a kid. I probably won't ever do that again because it scared the shit out of me.
I'm not getting cannabis, man.
I know.
I'm not gonna be ready. I go to Seattle. Are you in Seattle?
Yeah, that's like a couple hours from us.
Yeah, okay. What city are you in?
We're by Olympia.
Olympia. Okay, right on. Yeah, I mean, I go down to Seattle all the time. I have my whole life. So you're probably familiar with Victoria,
Yes.
as well, because
Yep.
there's a ferry between the two. So my whole life I've gone to Seattle, and I was actually just supposed to be there for a film festival, but because it was playing one of my previous films, but I got the flu and I missed it. But
Ooh.
I'm down there a lot, man. So if we
Excellent.
can get it in a dispensary down there, and then I can come down there, and we can smoke it together.
That would be great. We'll record a weed review together with
That
Ferret.
would be
It'll
sweet,
be awesome.
man. That would be awesome. Yeah. Well, hopefully we can make that happen. Because I've been, I saw you were reviewing like Snoop Dogg's weed.
Yeah, his Blue Dream.
Yeah.
Snoop's Blue Dream. Good stuff.
It's a cool marketing thing, man. I'm hoping that, the trade paper like Variety and the Hollywood Reporter and stuff would write about it. Because, I'd love to claim that this was my idea, but Kevin Smith actually did it for his film Tusk. He had 2 strains of marijuana created. One was called, what was it, Mr. Walrus or White Tusk, something like that. And he had 2 strains created that were available in dispensaries, and a lot of publicity came because of that.
That's interesting as far as like marketing something else using, a weed, especially if that's your demographic, which it becomes a larger and larger demographic every year. I feel like the more people are like, oh, this isn't really as dangerous as everyone said it was. We were kind of lied to this whole time, and they become more open about it. And it's cool to see that kind of cross branding, because like you just are doing, you can go and get this weed in real life and then smoke it, which puts you in this more open mind state. And then you're watching the film, which maybe some things get picked up more when you're in that more open mind state. When you watch films, you watch them and you see things maybe you wouldn't have caught otherwise. It's neat. There opens up a lot of possibilities.
Absolutely. I mean, my goal is that people will be smoking it and they'll be like, what's this called? Right. And they'll be like, oh, it's Ferret Bueller. And then like, where's Ferret Bueller? Where'd that come from? And if they know the story of it, they say, yeah, it's from that movie, Dude, Where's My Ferret? They came out with that. And then they'll go check out the movie.
That's awesome. I like it.
Also get high while they watch the movie. Yes, everything's more enjoyable.
Well, in games, like you mentioned House, I went through a kick watching that, and I started looking stuff up online, and there was like whole drinking games created around that show. And it was usually like med students in real life or doctors that watched the show and were like, here are the ridiculous things. Here is when you will take a drink. And I feel like, you could do that with smoking weed, as not saying drinking, but you could, take a bong rip, a smoking game. Yeah, exactly. And if
we should totally make a smoking game. Yeah, I need to put you on my crew, man.
Yeah, I'm just an idea guy. I have zero follow through with any of this, but I will throw out ideas like all day.
Ideas.
Are you familiar with the Oatmeal online, the comic drawer?
So
they
funny.
Just did that Kickstarter for Exploding Kittens, and it became one of the most like record-breaking Kickstarters. And it takes like just something simple like that to go along with this overall arcing thing you're doing, this film in this case specifically. And it just takes off like that. You could have this game and then this card game of ferrets. I mean, there's so many possibilities. It's neat having this ability.
Yeah, I just wish I had more money for.
That's the thing. All of it takes resources. So
most of it, costs money. I have tons of crazy, awesome ideas like that, but then I can't execute because of the money. So we're really lucky that like with the strain of marijuana, it works out to be a mutually beneficial thing. If it's a popular strain and it sells well. And that's partially due to the publicity that comes from our movie, then the creators are going to be happy and we're happy. So we have, a great partnership.
Everyone's happy. Are you into dabbing? Do you do extracts? I know some people kind of stay away, but other people will.
I've never dabbed.
All right.
I want to.
You got to definitely work up to it. It's not something you can just be like, oh, I've never smoked before. Let's have a dab.
Strong. I mean, I've been smoking pot since I was 15, but I am a lightweight. So I'm like 1 or 2 hoots max when I smoke. So I am a little bit worried because I'm hearing that it's like it hits you pretty hard.
Yeah, and because it's a new thing, I think a lot of times people are way overheating their nails, and they're burning up more of it at once than they should be because of the temperature. And but yeah, it's there's a learning curve to it, and I think once everyone figures it out, and they're getting close to it. I mean, we're discovering health stones and heat guns work well and all that. But yeah, it'll definitely, if you're not ready for it, it will set you down, and not very gently.
Okay, good to know, because like there's do you know who Mark Emery is?
Yep,
Probably.
yep, very familiar.
So he's in Vancouver, and he does dabs with people that just walk into the cannabis culture shop here, and you can go and meet him, and he'll do a dab with you, and it's very tempting because I've been in there, I've been talking to him, and I could have done it, but I didn't.
I need to take a ride up there and take a dab with Mark Emery, it sounds
You
like.
should. I mean, you just walk right in, and there he is.
Yeah, no, I have a passport. They'll let me right into Canada.
There you go.
Here's my card. Card-carrying citizen.
Yeah, man, you should definitely come up. His store is on Pot Block, so there's also the New Amsterdam Cafe right next door, where everyone just smokes pot in there.
And this isn't like medical or recreational. Like here,
It's
if you have a card, you can go to certain states, but other states won't let you. And then if you go to a rec state, of course, you can have whatever. But so in Canada, you can just kind of go wherever. Even being from the US, they won't be like, whoa, buddy.
No, it's illegal here. So I shouldn't tell you, yeah, you can just go do it and you're not breaking the law. But
Sure.
Turn a blind eye to it. Now, I don't know everything about the law. Like, I know that if you have a medical marijuana card, you're allowed to smoke marijuana, but I don't know how that affects, these smoke shops and stuff. There's a lot of drama going on right now because we have a lot of dispensaries in Vancouver, and a lot of them are getting in trouble, and there's been a lot of police raids. They're trying to make it so dispensaries can't be within a certain distance of schools or playgrounds.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
How, when they raid Canadian dispensaries, like I'm picturing a much more polite type of thing. Is it boots on the ground SWAT team, like Marines rolling in like it's war? Or are they like, hey, buddy, we have an issue with this. If you would mind, sign here.
Terrence and Philip come in and they're like, hey, guys.
Hey, buddy. Oh,
yeah.
Terrence.
It's Scott. Do you remember Scott?
Yes, Scott's a dick.
Scott's the guy that comes in and
awesome.
He takes away your marijuana.
Scott, why are you such a dick?
SWAT teams going in, like in full SWAT gear to raid.
Isn't that scary?
Shop.
Like, and what blows me away even more is that even with that fact, people will still do it. Like, we are so passionate about this plant that we'll risk getting no-knocked raided in the middle of the night, to do something like this.
We're freedom fighters, man.
Exactly.
I mean, it shouldn't be illegal. That's the thing. And everyone's slowly wising up to it and feeling embarrassed because they're realizing that it shouldn't be illegal.
And they're realizing why it was made illegal in the first place. And they're not very happy about that.
Yeah.
So
it's I don't know. I mean, it's eye-opening to watch, some of the documentaries that have been made about it and why it was made illegal in the first place and how many years it's taking to fix that mistake. Yeah,
it's insane how long. And it's almost like they create problems and then they create solutions, and they create solutions that will profit them basically. So it's almost, I feel like with these experiments that they keep saying they are in Colorado and in Washington, it's like they're looking at how to best maximize profits while going back on something they've been very, very stern on for so many years. And you get people trained in that mind state. Like, it's hard to reverse that. It's like, well, you've told us this. Now what do we believe? And so I think they're taking their time and trying to see, how can we best just, make our last killing on this? Because once this goes to full legalization across the whole state and it's rescheduled and everything, like, it's not just that market. Like, there's a whole prison system that's going to take a hit, and a lot of people profit from that, and they're trying to figure out, where are we going to get our money now that we can't profit from putting harmless people in jail?
I know, that makes me so angry when you
Isn't
said
that,
there.
it's appalling.
I don't get
Yeah.
riled up about a lot of things. I'm not political in any way. But when I think about how many people are in jail because of marijuana.
Oh yeah,
and they're not being let out right now when it's even being legalized in states already, like it just makes me so angry. And it's the only thing that's ever really got me riled up like that.
I think it did that to a lot of people, and they saw that politically. And I wasn't political at all until we started getting into the medical marijuana movement in Montana. And that was like my first taste of like how amazingly broken this whole thing is. Like, how does anything get done ever when this is legislative session after session of just old fat white dudes arguing with each other? It's like the most embarrassing thing, but like that it's how it's gone on for so long. It's crazy to watch that. And then to have this one thing, right? Like polarize generations into looking into politics and being like, oh, if this is messed up, like what other shady shit are you guys doing? And it did. It made a lot of people in our generation kind of get interested in that.
Yeah, I'm sure it did, man. It's inspiring to see what's happening and to be alive during this time when things are changing. And I hope that it changes at a faster pace so I can be alive to see it legalized, everywhere in the world, because it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that and psychedelic plant medicines. I believe there is definitely a place for that, and I think they're afraid that it connects people and it opens their eyes and lets you think about things differently, and that's dangerous for a government,
Yeah, well, people are afraid of what they don't know, and they judge things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too quick.
You're talking about shrooms?
Shrooms, ibogaine even has been showing real positive results as far as helping heroin addicts and everything. I mean, all of the tryptamines that McKenna was studying and Shulgin, it's pretty amazing. Like what we have locked in there that we weren't allowed to see. I mean, helping PTSD. I mean, there's a lot of things you could get into as far as like other plant medicines that aren't cannabis that.
Right.
Psychologically, like they have a huge place, and I feel like as far as that whole thing goes, like they've been missing out. Like you have this giant tool for this thing internally that maybe is broken sometimes, and you're not utilizing it properly.
Right. Yeah, well, I didn't know about all that, actually, to be honest with you.
There's a whole rabbit hole of other plants, medicines, psychedelics, some even not. But yeah, it's very interesting to once you get into reading, like what MAPS is doing. They're a big group that is working with psychedelics and MDMA and doing actual research. My boss says, if you're not writing it down, you're just fucking around. If you're going to write it down, then it's science,
Right.
So, well, Alison, it's been awesome talking to you. Anything else you want to mention before we wrap this up? We have, of course, dudewhere'smyferret.com.
No.
Awesome. I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll have links to all this stuff in the show notes at hotboxpodcast.com. And of course, yeah, go donate right now, contribute right now, at least $1, at least $5.
Yeah, please.
If I can recommend one, I would go with the $25 one because you get lots of cool stuff and it's still not going to.
I agree. $25, you get to see the movie and your name will be in the end credits. So you can't go wrong.
That's awesome. We're going to see the Hotbox podcast in the end credits. Very exciting.
Thank you very much for having me.
Cool, Alison. We'll have to definitely meet up in real life since you're so close. And yeah, I'm definitely keep me in mind with that strain. I'd like to review it.
Send me the name of those. I guess they're not dispensaries.
Nope, they're 502 rec shops, but I can also send you a name of a couple dispensaries that are near here. That
sweet.
Cool. Well, Alison Parker, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, bye-bye. Alison Parker, dudewhere'smyferret.com. Go check it out right now and donate. They have 20 days left, but it's flexible funding, so they'll get funded either way. But the more you donate, the better and the more helpful. So before we wrap this up, we should mention some awesome stuff happening on stuffstonerslike.com. Got a bunch of weed reviews. I was doing some numbers, running the numbers, and we've reviewed like 10 strains in the last week. You can find a good, healthy chunk of them up on stuffstonerslike.com right now. And a little article, I kind of skipped the more deadly than weed this week and did an article about, hey, I can't get stoned. What am I going to do? And more than just stop smoking. That's kind of like the last resort, but there's some other things you can do here and there we're experimenting with to maybe help a tolerance go down or even switch up different cannabinoids. You know, different strains have different profiles of what cannabinoids and terpenes they have in them. So maybe if you're smoking the same one, switch it up. And I know you can't always do that living depending on where you live, but something else to do besides just stop. So, all right. Well, hotboxpodcast.com. Check us out. And definitely, dude, where's my ferret.com? Donate some cash. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. See all the cool pictures of the weeds that we're reviewing and all that. So, Matt Lee, thanks for listening. Peace out.